I grew up in the Midwest, whatever. Don't start companies, right? If you want to start a company, you should have been, building stuff in your bedroom when you were like 7 years old. And shoot, now I'm 20. I'm too late. The hubris and depression of a 20-year-old. But I'm joking. But what was really transformative for me was right out of school, I was lucky enough to work at an early stage venture firm, Union Square Ventures, USV in New York. And my job there was basically just to meet with founders all day long for 2 years straight. And so just met with dozens and dozens of founders. Realized all sorts of people start companies. And yes, there's some common traits, like you got to want to get stuff done and run through walls a little bit. But also there's like a million differences. And it's about figuring out what it was like. But just over time, again, seeing people who are successful, who I thought I shared qualities too. The one kind of chip I still had on my shoulder was I was not technical and I wanted to start a software company. But so what I did was I took my bonus one year and extended it over 2.5 years and just taught myself to code and built a bunch of products, none of which anyone has ever heard of because they didn't really go anywhere. It was fun at the time. It was also stressful at this time, but this period of just like learning how to build and to make and do that for the first time. And I think some of that was just really helpful in convincing me I was someone who could learn how to do things and learn how to make things. And sufficiently technical to make shoddy MVPs. Like I could not get hired as an engineer at Vanta today or really at any point in our history, but realizing I really liked being able to like prototype my ideas. And that was really important to me, and confidence building and a testing and iteration perspective. And so just doing that for a couple of years was probably the like last piece of the plan. Having worked in venture and early stage venture, you see how, like I think as an industry, we celebrate raising money. But when you're like working in venture, you're like, oh, that's not the thing, right? The thing is getting customers and happy customers and retaining them. And how when you've raised a bunch of money but don't have growth in customer and then lose conviction yourself, that is just like this kind of the worst, because there's this huge gap between like the money and I should be successful and we should be growing and oh shoot, we're like there isn't product market fit. And realizing like, it's never fun to not have product market fit. But it is in fact worse to not have it with $4 million in your bank account. So there's that piece of raising money is fine, but it doesn't solve the product market fit problem. And that is in fact a very real problem. Anyway, so super skeptical on that. Also in my 2 years of building, I mean, I mentioned this, but I built a bunch of stuff no one wanted. It's fun when you're learning and you're like, oh, I got better at coding or I like learned this new skill or whatever. But fundamentally when no one wants your stuff, that just isn't fun either. And so had a bunch of prior experience and kind of failure by many senses of the term that made me really stringent about product market fit for a Vanta or for a startup. I can talk through the process, but what it looked like was basically a 6-month process that started with really open-ended questions, moved to like spreadsheet prototypes, and then moved to prototypes that we told people were generated with code that were not were written by hand. Right? And then at the end of the 6 months started coding, and it was realized we could build kind of whatever thing we wanted, but that didn't mean people wanted it, right? And so just front loaded all of this exploration and testing and iteration so that when we did start writing code, hopefully it was like the right code toward a problem that, was actually real and resonant and folks would pay for their time and